Hi and welcome. My name is Joe Nakar. I'm a licensed tour guide here in Israel, and we're gonna be standing on the Mount of Olives. It's the best place to learn, to hear about all the historical events from the Prophet Abraham until the present day. This is one of the 3 clips I've done on the Mount of Olives, so enjoy it. Now I have a diagram here of how the temple looked like at the time. So if you look at this corner here, in this diagram, you will see the corner there in reality, just there. And you can see right next to it, you can see also some stairs leading up to the southern wall, and these were the stairs at the time. Okay? And people entered from these gates, what we call the double gate and the triple gate. They came in and they came out here in order to do a sacrifice at the temple. In those days there was sacrifice, and the prayers eventually replaced the sacrifice. Now, the Romans continued until the year 66 AD, and this is the time when the Jews rebelled against the Romans, and it took something like 4 years. By the year 70, the Romans had a special army led by a man called Titus. Titus came and burned Jerusalem to the ground and burned the temple to the ground, and that is the end of the Israelite rule in Jerusalem and also in the Holy Land at the time. The Romans continued until the year 323, and this is the time when we call the Byzantines. Byzantine meaning Christianity. Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire, and it was the Emperor Constantine who decided on this, and his mother Helena came to Jerusalem and came to Bethlehem, and she built a few churches, and the Byzantine started in the year 323 AD, and it continued until the 7th century, around 638, and this is the time when we had the Muslim rule. The Muslim rule started with the Prophet Muhammad. After Muhammad, he had few caliphates, and the second caliphate, his name is Umar ibn al-Khattab. Umar ibn al-Khattab, he arrived to Jerusalem and he stood on that mountain with the 2 antennas. See it over there? The 2 antennas, and he shouted the cry, the Muslim cry, Allahu Akbar, and this is why it's called Jabal al-Mukabbar until the present day. And that village down at the bottom is also called al-Mukabbar village until the present day. Umar ibn al-Khattab, he entered Jerusalem and he asked, where is the rock? And he was shown the rock. We have to remember that in the 7th century, this platform was all in ruins. So on top of this rock, he decided that this is the place where the Prophet Muhammad went up to heaven to pray with the prophets, and came back, and it was the flight to Mecca. And it's mentioned in the Quran in the surah called the Surah wal Mi'raj, and this is what it says he came from the nearest mosque to the furthest mosque, and it's the furthest mosque in Arabic meaning Al-Aqsa. So at the very end of that 7th century, beginning of the 8th century, the dynasty who was ruling at the time, known as the Umayyad dynasty, they constructed this mosque. You can see it with the grey dome, and this is called Al-Aqsa Mosque, and the other one is called the Dome of the Rock, or Qubbat al-Sakhra in Arabic. The blue tiles did not exist. The blue tiles was added by the Turks, and the gold is added by the Jordanian government last century. After the Umayyad came another dynasty called the Abbasid from Iraq. After that, the Fatimid from Egypt, and this lasted until the 11th century. This is the time when we had liberators from mainly from France, known as the Crusaders. The Crusaders, they came and they ruled here for approximately 200 years. With a break in the middle, they were kicked out by Salah ad-Din, but at the time when they came, the first first half, let's say, Jerusalem was the capital. The second half, Akko became their capital. After that, it was a special people imported from around Uzbekistan area, and they were converted to Islam, and they became slaves, but they became also warriors, known as the Mamluks. And the Mamluks, it was them who kicked the Crusaders out from this land, and they ruled for approximately 250 years until 1517, and then another big empire was ruling this part of the world, known as the Ottoman Empire, and they came and they ruled here for 4 centuries, and that took us from 1517 till 1917, and this is the end of World War I, and the British Mandate came and they ruled until 1948, when Israel had its independence.